Welcome back to Criminology Insights, where we break down the most gripping, complex, and devastating true crime stories from around the country. Today's case comes from Birmingham, Alabama, and it's one that combines domestic violence, legal gray areas, and a family torn apart in full view of a crowd of 50 people. Sunday, March 31, 2024, Easter Sunday. Ms. Bostic had planned a celebration that day, not just for the holiday, but also for his daughter's 7th birthday. There were decorations, food, music, everything you'd expect at a family gathering. But what no one expected was how violently the night would end. According to police, Bostic's longtime girlfriend, 30-year-old Shatice Renae Jackson, had been arguing with him throughout the day. Officers were even called for a domestic disturbance earlier, but after speaking with both of them, they found nothing criminal had occurred and left the scene. That decision would prove fatal. Later that evening, Jackson allegedly returned to the house. According to witnesses, the argument reignited, and this time, it escalated beyond words. People at the party reported hearing gunshots. It's still unclear whether Jackson fired into the air or aimed at someone, but what happened next left no ambiguity. Authorities say Jackson got behind the wheel of her SUV, aimed it at Bostic, and slammed the vehicle into him. Emergency crews rushed to the scene, but Bostic was already gone. Chaos erupted. Police declared a max emergency because they couldn't control the crowd. More than 25 police units from 4 precincts responded. Family members screamed. People tried to save him, but it was too late. Shatice Jackson was arrested that night and placed on a 48-hour felony hold. In court, wearing a green and white striped jumpsuit and with braids on one side of her head, she smiled and even laughed during her first appearance. That courtroom behavior drew outrage, but legally, Jackson was facing something even more severe, a charge of capital murder. Why capital? Because in Alabama, if a child under 14 witnesses the murder of a parent or guardian, and intent can be proven, that elevates the crime to capital status, potentially punishable by life without parole or even death. Legal analyst Derek Draineen weighed in, explaining that while capital murder can carry the death penalty, it's rare, especially in cases involving vehicles. In this case, the capital charge is likely based solely on the presence of the children as witnesses. Draineen also pointed out that prosecutors would need to prove an aggravating factor like heinous, atrocious, and cruel conduct. For example, if Jackson pinned Bostic and continued pressing the accelerator as he screamed in pain. That, he said, could potentially meet the threshold. But what if Jackson didn't plan the attack? If her lawyers can argue that she acted in the heat of passion, or suffered from mental illness, the charge could be reduced to manslaughter or second-degree murder, carrying lighter sentences. But those arguments face an uphill battle. The children, physically unharmed, are now in police custody. Where they'll end up depends on whether any family is able and willing to care for them. If not, they could enter the foster system. As for the investigation, the case is moving through the Alabama courts. Jackson's next steps include a preliminary hearing, followed by grand jury proceedings, and potentially, a full jury trial, which legal experts say could take up to 2 years. The biggest question ahead? Whether prosecutors will call the children to testify, a move that could re-traumatize them but might be pivotal to the case. This case is tragic in every way. A father is dead, a mother is behind bars, and 2 children, who should have spent the night unwrapping birthday presents, were instead witnesses to something no child should ever see. We'll continue to follow this case as it develops. If you want more deep dives like this one, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. This is Criminology Insights, where we explore the darkest corners of human behavior, and what justice really means. Thanks for watching.